Hello, this is my Sork Healer. Okay, so they're not generally used as much as, let's say, a Templar or a Warden, but they are nice to have in groups where you want to maximize your DPS and don't want Sorks in the group, Mag Sorks or Stam Sorks, and you still want to have the Conduit synergy for Alkosh and some of the buffs that are given from the Sork. So generally, I don't put Olo and Jorvolds on her. It just depends on what the group comp is. I have her set up right now for VSO hard mode with a good way to no death that. Okay, so right now I have on IA and excuse me, and mending. You can also put on any combination of, depending on what your group needs, on IA Jorvolds, Mending Jorvolds, just anything else like that. I do happen to have Lord Warden on, which you may think is a bit strange, and it kind of is, but it was just for the VSO because both of the tanks were wearing Selfish sets. I didn't see it proccing, so I threw it on. Mainly you'll want to keep your general sets on, like Earthgore or Bogdan, sometimes Sentinel, but you're not going to use your Sork Healer as much as, say, you would your Warden or your Templar. Okay, so I have Max Magica on here. I have, I just haven't trait changed this, the well-fitted, okay. Or, these, I just grabbed these off of out of my bank real quick, so usually you'll want to keep either all divines, depending on your Mundus and what your needs are, or you're going to keep infused big pieces, which is head, chest, and legs, and small would be divines. Or you can even do all infused if you want and throw on tri-stat glyphs, whatever you'd like to do for it. So generally I would have on Earthgore with max mag glyphs on here, okay? That's just what I happen to have on. So you also want to improve your stuff to purple or gold if you need more stats. Purple is usually sufficient unless you're min-maxing or you just like things shiny. Okay, and these are just kind of like backup sets I threw on her because I have 4 healers, so you get kind of low on sets and I don't want to switch back and forth, just need to transmute some stuff, okay? And it doesn't really matter too much between gold and purple for the enchants, but if you have them, why not? Okay, so I do happen to have mag recovery on here with arcane. You can set up different things if you want. You can do infused if you want to. It just depends on what you want to do with yours. I just generally tend to keep that on here because you can always compensate for what you need in other ways. Okay, I usually use on her the Witch Mothers just for a bit more mag recovery. You also want to keep on bi-stat food or tri-stat food if you need it. Always keep your tri-stat potions on you in case you happen to need a Stam regen. Okay, you can also make just potions that do mag and Stam recovery if you don't really care about the health. Since she is an Argonian, I can get away with using some trash pots in a lot of content just because it still regens things. So that's why I have those equipped right now. But if you find yourself really needing stuff back, then you'll want to use spell power. I took them off of her for right now to use on somebody else. Okay, and the reason why you want increased spell power, crit, and magic recovery is because it makes your heals higher and better. Okay, so that's it for the gear. As far as the character sheet goes, right now I'm using bi-stat food and I'm using mag recovery on here. Okay, so my mag recovery is sitting about 21. You can keep yours anywhere above 2,000. If you go over 23, it's kind of a waste. So don't generally do that. If you play where you need more max stam, you can put tri-stat glyphs on. It just will make other things a little bit lower. I usually play with about 18k health. I had a little bit higher because it was VSO, and that's annoying. Okay, so for skills, this is my back bar right here. This is my front bar. You can see I always keep the resto on the front bar. Okay, so you'll always want to keep on combat prayer so you can give the heal and the buff to you and your allies. You can use Empowered Ward for your shield, or you can switch out to Healing Ward depending on what your group needs at that time. You don't really necessarily need the Minor Intellect as much. It's not as important, but you can always throw that out there. It's a nice extra buff. Liquid Lightning is what you want to keep down so that it can be activated by the tank for Alkosh if you don't have another Sork in the group. Generally, you won't run a Sork healer if there are other Sorks. Okay, you can, I always like to keep on Mutagen. This is not one I usually flex out just because it's a good spot heal. Even though you can't control exactly where it goes, if you hit it a few times, it's going to hit quite a few people. And the cost is relatively low. I keep Illustrious Healing on her. I didn't necessarily need the mag recovery, and this has an additional second of healing. It makes the heal stronger. Okay, so that's why I like to choose that morph. Aggressive Warhorn's gonna want to, you're gonna want to use that for the majority of your ultimate. Back bar, I have Boundless Storm on. You can flex this out if you don't need the Major Resolve and Major Ward that comes from it. Okay. But it also gives you Major Expedition, which is super nice if you want to keep your movement going good. And you'll notice for the passives in here, if I have this slotted, if I have a ability on both bars from here, then I always have mag recovery up, and the other ones don't matter as much. Okay, but it's nice to have a little bit of mag recovery from that. You'll always want to keep Elemental Drain on. And you can coordinate with the other healer if they're really good at keeping it up on absolutely everything, or if there are trials that are less ad heavy, then one of you can run it and you can switch out for something else, like Bound Aegis. Okay, you'll want to keep the Blockade of Storms down to proc your enchants. Usually you'll keep Weakening on this bar and mag recovery on the front bar. I just need to update mine. I haven't updated them on these healers yet. Okay, so Energy Orb is something you always want to keep down for the healing and the regen. And Dark Conversion, you're not going to want to use this too much, but the only reason you do use it is actually for a buff. It's not really to heal yourself and restore mag, but you can use it for that, certainly. But the reason you'll want to use it is for the passives here. The other one you can use is Absorption Field as your ultimate if you need to, if they need a negate for something. But the reason you want to use it is because when you cast it, you create Minor Prophecy to yourself and your group, which increases spell crit, and they get Major Prophecy from their spell power pot, so it's nice to have even extra, a little bit extra on that. So that lasts for 20 seconds, okay? So you can apply that every 20 seconds if you want to. It also lets you spam a lot more orbs. Just keep in mind that the cast time is 1.2 seconds, so don't use it when you need to be available instantly. So I'll kind of show you that it takes just a minute to cast it, and then you can cast something else. So I can't cast right away. So just be careful when you use that. Okay, so champion points. The green is usually your playstyle. I usually keep higher in Warlord. I have a lot of tenacity in here because I do heavy attack when I use IA. Don't usually use Orvolds and Jolo. Oh, Olo and Jorvolds. I want higher mag recovery. Okay, and then the blue you always want to keep higher in the Elfborn and Blessed. And then just kind of stick your other ones where you want to. I have some in Thaumaturge also because the Conduit and the Blockade. And this is just set up for VSO right now. If you do need the trial specific, this does change for each trial. Okay, and just to show you again the character sheet, this is unbuffed. Then I'm gonna like throw on whatever I need to do that. And you can see the spell resistance goes up. Okay. See if I put on that, then you can see what that does for the crit. Okay, so that's about it for that. Let me know if you have any questions, and